Hey, everybody, how you doing? Let me pause that real quick. How is everybody doing this evening? My name is Stuart Davis, Flawed Man of God. Welcome to my channel. I am a humble parishioner just outside at a church. Not just a humble parishioner, but I'm a humble parishioner at a church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor, I'm not a biblical scholar, and I haven't been to seminary. I'm not trying to get you to join my church or donate to any special cause. What I'm here to do is talk about God, talk about Jesus, talk about the Holy Spirit, talk about the Bible, talk about Christianity, talk about a wide variety of different issues, topics, and current events, and give you my perspective on them. One that I think is reflective of your average Christian guy. Been a Christian all my life, 41 years, non denominational Protestant. I don't subscribe to any particular doctrine or denomination, I'm just in the word daily, trying to do it better each and every day. So, if you are somebody who is not a Christian, but you're interested in being one, you looking for information, maybe maybe there's answers that you can't find outside of faith, and you want to know what about faith is so precious to us and why we worship Christ the way that we do. Want to know more about what this drive you feel inside of yourself is pulling you towards. And maybe a slick talking social media influencer, or maybe some of these holy rolling TV pastors aren't doing it for you. It's too contrived, too scripted, too much like a money grab. You want to get it from somebody who doesn't really have skin in the game. I'll silence my phone, Blaine. Somebody who doesn't maybe have some skin in the game when it comes to whether or not you believe or not. Somebody who has been doing it for a long time, who can share with you, just what they've learned. You want to hear it from the guy sitting next to you in the pew. If that's what you're looking for, this is the stream for you. And hopefully you'll get the answers that you need. Hopefully you'll get the answers that you need. But either way, we're going to be streaming here. We'd love to have you as part of the crew. If you are already a Christian and you just enjoy Christian topics and discussions, welcome as well. You'll find we run this very similar to a Wednesday night study group or a Sunday school. It's relaxed, not very complicated, informal. It's a good, nice place to be. It's a band where you see the same folks when you come in, and you can get and you can share whatever you need to and get the Christian support that maybe you're looking for. So no matter where you are in your faith, whether you're just trying to find it, maybe you're trying to get it back, maybe you're just in the day-to-day, and maybe you're on top of it all. You've been a Christian longer than me, you're more mature in the faith than I am, you know more about the scriptures than me. It's not necessarily that difficult of a thing to do. But no matter what, get in that chat. We got a great group of folks who tune in and night out, and we want you to be part of that group. And there's a ton of them on there tonight. We had such a good reading last night. Both Psalms hit hard, but specifically Psalm 73. What a great psalm for today. How's everybody doing? It's nice to start the stream on time. It's nice. Lucy's here first. How's it going? I'm going to get the banner out of the way. Lucy's here first. Then Thad, which version of the Bible does Stuart use? All right, to answer this question earnestly and not give you any grief over it. We've alternated a little bit. My standard, what I grew up reading, was the New International Version. It's not very complicated. To me, it translates very well, and it makes sense. That's what we started the show doing, and then one of our Orthodox friends of the show, Yax, who hasn't been in the chat in a while. I don't know when the last time he tuned in, but Yax Orthodox and a couple of the other folks, maybe Nernaeth, recommended RSV, not the disease, but the RSV and the Amplified, and I really like the Amplified translation. Really like the Amplified translation. Found that to be very cool. But once we got into Psalms, it's so poetic in style that Amplified doesn't work very well. And New International and Revised was a little. King James seems to be the best just medium of translation to really get it across, because it's kind of a flowery translation. It sounds sophisticated and intelligent. People who read King James Version only people all talk like this. They keep their chins up and their noses up and stare down on the commoners for reading things like the NIV and the CSV and anything not KJV. I actually read a couple of passages one night on the stream, talked like that, and I read it from King James. This was I might have still been in Genesis. Maybe it was still part of the Pentateuch. I don't know. Anyway, but so we've skipped around and used a little bit. My thoughts is we will go back to the Amplified, maybe with Proverbs, but definitely with Ecclesiastes. So once we're done with Psalms, we might see how Amplified handles Proverbs, but we might go back to NIV, or we might try rolling with the RSV. But that's what for more clarification, we have bounced around a little bit. We started with NIV. Our standard's going to be Amplified because I just like it. I like how it brackets in context. Alex Moore, nice. I have Zoom Church on Plus this stream. How about me? Just tell everybody at Zoom Church, hey guys, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Don't Zoom Church. Go to church and zoom into this show. Drop the link in there and boost this up. Welcome, Alex Moore. Welcome, Dresden. Alias is here. Blaine 41 achievement unlocked. Bling. Okay, mine is silenced. Everybody silenced their phone. Mine was not. Mine went off in the middle. So he has the secret version, the secret translation. This is where we stew in the pew. I like that. That's what I should have called this stupid show. Welcome to Stew in the Pew. I'm your host, Stuart Davis. Daggone it. No. I missed such a good opportunity, Blaine. I'm forever going to regret that. Oh, if I had told me that earlier, I might look and still called it a flawed man of God. But maybe the Bible reading called it Stew in the Pew reads the Bible. Daggone it. I'm so mad. That's such a great that's such a great thing. Lucy said, anybody remember Harold Camping? Holy heck, just finished watching a video about him It's both hilarious and sad what happened to that man. No, I don't know anything about him. The current drama in the Christian Twitter and Christian media sphere has to do with a guy named Alistair Begg, who I did not know much about, or I don't know if I'd ever heard of him until this news broke. But a lot of folks I know, apparently, both online and offline, were huge fans or are huge fans of him. He had a advice. He has an advice column. A grandmother said that her grandson had invited her to his trans wedding, and she was wondering how she should respond as a Christian to that invite. And she's made it clear that she doesn't approve. Mr. Begg then advised her to go to the wedding and bring a gift, as to not alienate him, because by not going would be showing poor, I don't know, would be giving sending a poor message that might push them away from God. He was promptly dropped. His radio program was promptly dropped. He has doubled down that he has made the right choice. And this is a man who has spoken a lot about against in opposition to homosexual marriage, or homosexuality in general. The practice is being sinful. It's difficult to reconcile that with these recent statements. And so it has been difficult. Babylon Bee did an editorial article, kind of part of their Not the Bee, I think, Not the Bee series. In fact, it was their Not the Bee group, did an editorial about it. I thought they did a really good job saying, look, I grew up, the author said, look, I grew up listening to Alistair Begg. I have a great deal of respect. I know he loves God. I know he's trying to do the right thing, but this is wrong. And he needs to understand why. And he lays it out. He does a very nice, gentle rebuke of what Alistair said, but Alistair is apparently holding fast to that his translation was correct, and he called his opponents and detractors on this fundamentalists, legalists, and Pharisees. Bold strategy, Cotton. But that's the big thing. The have you heard? Thought about doing a show about it, but I just don't know enough about him. RSV is for kids. You're for kids. Blaine said, just finished sealing the basement, or sealing the cement basement steps. Now I'm showering. All right. Thanks, Blaine. NIV. AMP. There you go. NKJV, NK. You mean KJV, NKJV, Uber Allies? John Smoth. Always welcome in the chat. A wild John Smoth appears. As an Anglican, I approve of the King James Version. King James Version. I struggle with the KJV because it's so, like I say, flowery is the best way to say it, that you have to slow down even more, and it just slows you down even more and takes away from. I just want to know what the words are so that I can understand what's being. I don't want to have to break down the words further. It sounds like Gothic and Warhammer. Oh, I've been on I'm on a heresy posting site on Facebook. It is hilarious. Warhammer 40K memes are all hilarious, but it's just a flood of them. There's plenty of new content in there. Nernev loves Ecclesiastes. I can't wait. Renee said Zoom church is code for speeding to get to the house of God. Hashtag no snitching. And yet here you are, Nernath, narking out your buddies. Alex Moore, Ecclesiastes 3:4. No spoilers, please, sir. Haley said Zoom, isn't that on PBS? Pastor at Cleveland. Lucy said Harold Camping claimed to know the second coming and used math to do it. He was proven wrong, of course, just like they all have. Just like they all have. Lucy said, I know another person known as Alistair. Interesting person. Alistair Stanley from Rainbow Six. In the Tom Clancy, Jack Ryan universe. You should check out Rosaria Butterfield. Butterfield, I think. Dean of Queer Studies, not married to a man and has two children. Became a Methodist. Well, I mean, wait, is she the one that reversed course? Hang on a second. I've heard that name before. I feel like we've talked about her before on the show. I'm not talking about vampires. Blaine, if you want to talk about vampires, I'm sure there's still a Twilight channel somewhere around here where you can congregate with 45-year-old women and talk about Edward Cullen. Former English professor, women's studies at Syracuse. You converted the crisis in 99. Yeah, what she describes as a train wreck. Her memoir, Secret Thoughts of an Unlikely Convert, chronicles that difficult journey. Right, chronicles that difficult journey. Rosaria is married to Kent Butterfield, a Reformed Presbyterian pastor in North Carolina, and is a homeschool mother, author, and speaker. Uh, feminist, LGBTQ advocacy, adopted a lesbian identity, went to Ohio State. Where are my Michigan fans at? Where's Steve? Emmanuel, what's going on, sir? Where's Steve at? Talking about, oh, of course there's Ohio State. Served the English department at Syracuse. 97, while Rosaria was researching the religious right and their politics of hatred against people like me, she wrote an article against the Promise Keepers. A response to that article triggered a meeting with Ken Smith, who became a resource on the religious right and their Bible, a confidant and friend. In 1999, after repeatedly reading the Bible in large chunks for her research, Rosaria converted to Christianity. Her first book, The Secret Thoughts of an Unlikely Convert, details her conversion and the cataclysmic fallout in which she lost everything but the dog. Gained Christ. Oh, yeah, yet gained eternal life in Christ. Love it. She's been on something. Blaine's feeling it today, guys. He's got it. I hope he's okay. He's bringing his A game because he's going to be playing Age of Empires 2 with me on his stream right after this stream on his channel, Blaine's Escape Corner. Go check it out, guys. They talk about anime. If you're not degenerate, you might not like it, so avoid it. It's talk about cars, talk about football. Apparently, recently, me and Serrano's gotten a big argument that he apparently was just pretending Um, but yeah, sometimes Lofty Pixels comes on and talks about stuff that's way over my head on how you're supposed to enjoy media. But again, Blaine, great content creator for the topic that he covers. Very well versed in what he's talking about, subject matter expert, etc. If you're interested at all in anime, and if you're looking for advice, you can type it right in the chat. Kind of tell him what and he has recommended shows for me that I enjoy, and he steers me away from ones that I probably wouldn't, which is great because I hate that. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Whatever. What was she was probably a Methodist before she came to Christ. That's my joke. I think scholars think of KJV as the least accurate translation. Man, you better be careful. There's some Reformed Baptists that'll come out after you with some pitchforks. Hearing that, John Smoth said. Also, I'm pretty sure the Babylon Bee did an article where they unearthed a King James Bible in the hand of in the tomb of King David. So you're wrong. Babylon Bee proved you wrong. Plain says Rainbow Six isn't real. Prove it. Alistair Crowley, Lucy. Yeah. Alistair is Scotsman. Blaine refers to Savario vampire because he likes things that glitter, apparently. It's an anime. Of course it is. Said, sorry, I'm birching it. Now, we've got it all. Look, you just point me in the right direction, Thad. I'll get it all squared away. Ooh, John Smoth, Rosario Vampire is lolly cringe. Repent, Blaine. Repent. Manuals in here. What did I walk into? Thad admits that Ohio State is the home of Justin Fields. All the more reason to not like it. Oh, CJ Stroud is the way you should go. CJ Stroud might be the first successful quarterback to ever come out of Ohio State. They talk a lot of smack about it. Classic, make them read the Bible to prove it wrong and then turn them into Christ. Got him. Got him. I'm watching anime right now with you in my headphones. Repent. Emmanuel says Lofty is a weirdo with horrendous takes, but lovable nonetheless. Yes, never a better description for him. I think what was it? Was Blaine and I got in an argument with him about how he could about characters you're allowed to like or not like, or movies you're allowed to enjoy and not allowed to enjoy. I can't remember. It was hilarious. Blaine's got the receipts and he clipped it. It's pretty funny. Speed Racer. Renee said, accurate to what? Who knows? Accuracy is relative. Each translation has its strong and weak points, except the message, which is trash. Alex says Rainbow Group is real. Yeah, Blaine on note being put on notice right now. Nernaeth said, depends on the purpose and viewpoint of translation. Evangelion is a wholesome Christian show. No, it's not. Emmanuel said, hey, now, wait a minute. I love my lollies. No hate, but you're wrong. Oh, lollies are bad, guys. And I'm saying that with a fair degree of Yax is here. Oh, we were just talking about you. Yex is here. We were just talking. Look, we started this show off, Yex. Somebody asked what translation I was using, and I said, well, right now that we're in we are using King James because it just Psalms just sounds better, flows better with King James. But and we started with the New International Version, but because of the recommendation of one of our listeners, one of our chatters who hadn't seen in a while, Yex, seen on here. I see you on Twitter all the time. See on here, Yex and a couple of others recommended Amplified, and Amplified's been awesome. It just doesn't read well in Psalms because you're kind of like it's supposed to have a flow to it. You can't have flow with brackets. It's terrible. It's like trying to speed through speed bumps. Blaine, Evangelion is not Christian just because it has crosses and evangelical in there. No, stop it, guys. Yes, Alex is here with the command like he should, keeping the discipline in here. Let's hear Psalms. We're going to do that. Especially after last night. Yex, dude, last night, Psalm 73, good. I mean, 74 was good too, but man, 73, it really came, just really hit well with the way that the night was going. I thought it was a really good I had a really good reading. It was a really good episode. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start in tonight with Psalm 75 and 76. Thanksgiving for God's righteous judgment. Feeling some I just when I read that, I just think of the hammer falling. Look, something can be the good thing is it led you back to Jesus. That does not necessarily mean that it makes it good. All right. Psalm 75, Thanksgiving for God's righteous judgment. To the chief musician set to Do Not Destroy, a psalm of Asaph, a song. We give thanks to you, O God. We give thanks for your wondrous works. Declare that your name is near. I can't wait to get back to that. Declare that your name is near. When I choose the proper time, I will judge uprightly. The earth and all its inhabitants are dissolved. I set up its pillars firmly. Thank you. Appreciate that. Sun saving my tail. All right, let me start over again. We give thanks to you, O God. We give thanks for your wondrous works. Declare that your name is near. When I choose the proper time, I will judge uprightly. The earth and all its inhabitants are dissolved. I set up its pillars firmly. Selah. I said to the boastful, do not deal boastfully, and to the wicked, do not lift up the horn. Do not lift up your horn on high, and do not speak with a stiff neck. For exaltation comes neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but God is the judge. He puts down one and exalts another. For in the hand of the Lord there is a cup, and the wine is red. It is fully mixed, and he pours it out. Surely its dregs shall all the wicked of the earth drain and drink down. But I will declare forever. I will sing praises to the God of Jacob. All the horns of the wicked I will also cut off, but the horns of the righteous shall be exalted. Nernaeth, you missed the teeth breaking one. That was a week and a half ago, I think. Sorry. John Smoth said, I've got to discipline my children, so I'm out. Godspeed, sir. Good night and have a blessed Candlemas tomorrow to you all. I don't know what that means. Emmanuel said, it's like saying Joel Osteen is a good pastor and definitely not grifting. All right. Really like where this psalm was going. No, I do it when I do it, Nernath. I really like where this psalm is going. Um, we give thanks to you, O God. We give thanks for your wondrous works. Declare that your name is near. Your name is near. What is, how does Jesus tell people that he is Jesus, that he is the Messiah, um, that he is God? I am. That's what he says. I am. His name. What's the thing that um the kids are saying these days? What's the new slang? He's him. He is him. Went to him university. That might sound new. Jesus invented that. I am. And here it is. Your name is near. The time is coming. Prophecy, foreshadowing, call it what you will. Before Abraham was I am. Or before Abraham, I am. I was. Stop. Let's not get grammatic about it. We know that that's what he's talking about. When I choose the proper time, I will judge uprightly. The earth and all its inhabitants are dissolved. I set up its pillars firmly. Judgment. I said to the boastful, do not deal boastfully, and to the wicked, do not lift up the horn. Do not lift up your horn on high, and do not speak with a stiff neck. Now, the boastful thing, um, pretty straightforward. Do not deal boastfully. Not deal with your nose up in the air like you're a King James reader. Just kidding. Um, don't be boastful. Don't be conceited. Don't fall in love with yourself. And to the wicked, do not lift up the horn. I was like, what horn is he talking about? Do not lift up your horn on high and do not speak with a stiff neck. Do not promote wickedness. Do not tell everybody that what you're doing is right when it's wrong. It's a big problem with this, with kings. I'm looking at you, Jeroboam. Habitual line steppers. Lifting up their horns on high, speaking with a stiff neck, because what? They are a stiff necked and stubborn people. Somebody's quoting God well in this psalm. Good job, Asaph. I'm a big fan of Asaph after listening to these. Oh, Lucifer says, don't be boastful. In other words, don't be Matt Walsh. For exaltation comes neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. Does it come from the north? No, from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. But God is the judge. He puts one down and exalts another. For in the hand of the Lord there is a cup, and the wine is red, is fully mixed, and he pours it out. Surely its dregs shall all the wicked of the earth drain and drink down. Y'all, God's the judge. And not in the only God can judge me. This is you can say that what the wickedness stuff is you're doing is right, but that doesn't make it true. And true praise, exaltation, it's for God. Judgment comes from God and God alone. I'm wondering if the part about the wine is something having to do with the blood of Christ. I'm not sure. Maybe this is, dare I say it, a foreshadowing of the Eucharist that we as Protestants have a difficult time conceptualizing. But that seemed, I don't want to be pigeonholing it. I don't want to be, um, I don't want to have I'm not trying to fit it into an answer, but when I'm like, where is he talking to? This is what makes This is what makes sense. Because the wicked get it? Of course the wicked get it. Who did Christ die for? He died for us because we're wicked. We're wicked. the Look, and if you need to understand how wicked we are, Keith Foskey is going to be on here Tuesday, and he's a Calvinist. They'll tell you exactly how depraved we all are. They're good at that. It's part of their whole tulip thing. Total depravity. I think it's the very beginning. That's another big announcement, guys. If y'all weren't here last night, Keith Foskey with with a Calvinist is going to be on here. He is an absolute, like, whether you are subscribed to Calvinism or not, he is hilarious. He seems like a very honest and genuinely funny guy, who is a pastor. I've caught clips of some of his sermons. He brings the fire and brimstone to it. But again, really good. He's got a really good Twitter feed. He's got a really good YouTube channel, and he does a lot of. I think he's like the Calvinist version of maybe Hans Feeney, Lutheran satire. But he's going to be on the show. Very excited about it. We've been trying to get a date together. Not date together. Don't clip that. We've been trying to get a date set up for both of us to meet on here. He's going to be on here just to talk about Calvinism and give us his spin. Hopefully, an hour is not a whole lot of time to talk about it, so hopefully we'll get a follow-up interview. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Bring your questions. And we'll be sure I'll try to ask what you have to ask while at the same time being respectful for his time. That's my smote his caps lock. Yex said, reminds me about how the church fathers read the Jews saying, let his blood be on us and on our children, less as a curse and more as a blessing. To me, it feels like, because I like that and I agree with that. If I was, to me, it sounds like a shameful blessing. Not that the blessing is shameful, but it's shameful on us that we needed it. That Christ had to suffer for us. It's a beautiful thing that he loves us so much. It is a sad thing that we live in such a state that was necessary. He is rescuing us from ourselves. And if you're rescued, like if you're a hostage, and you think of yourself as a hostage and somebody comes in and saves you, that it's great. You're very thankful, and everything's kind of there's a battle with good and evil. But this isn't, you're not saving us from hostages from some terrorist, some Hans Gruber, like in Die Hard. No, you're saving us from ourselves. The trouble and the tragedy and the horrors and the horrors that he is saving us from come from us, our own doing, our own actions, our own iniquities, our own poor decisions and evil. We give in to sin and separate ourselves from God. The shepherd's out there looking after us. He loves us. So he sacrifices for us. Your name, like the wine bowl. I read that bowels first, like the wine bowls of judgment in Revelations. I like that. Yeah, I think that pairs up well with what Yex and I were thinking earlier, like the line. Yeah, I like that. It's a good tie-in with Revelation. But it is the dregs of the wine. I mean, look, I'm not a wine drinker, but I'll take whatever. If God's providing it. Yex says context seems to indicate the wine being wrath, but I don't care, or I don't know. It's still interesting. If it's wrath, again, wrath on the wicked makes sense. Nernea said, Battle Hymn of the Republic mentions the winepress of the wrath of the Lord. Well, that makes sense. King David wrote that song. Everybody. No, actually, Joshua wrote that song when he was circling around Jericho. That was what they were playing on the horn. Debate Jay Dyer? No. I don't understand. I don't even listen to much of Jay Dyer. I know that I think that Christian Mario talks to him sometimes. The things that I've seen that he's written on Thaddeus Patrick's timeline or on his Twitter feed, um, very disturbing and very very disappointing. I know that he's supposed to be a very good, and Thaddeus will say it. He's a very good apologist. Has a lot of very thoughtful and insightful things to say, but he seems very vindictive and petty in things, and I don't like seeing that in somebody that we're supposed to that we. Oh, please don't do that. I'm like him. I read that right afterwards. That's it's sad too because when you see somebody who is good at explaining things and putting things together and advocating for a specific denomination and doing it well in a way that speaks to people, and then you see them go back and attack someone who I feel is a very good person with a very complicated history that they have overcome and using that past experience to help others. um, it's just, again, deeply disappointing. I wish it wasn't the case, and I wish he would stop. But apparently, there's some history there. Did he tell you that? All right. Son did not save my tail because he ratted me out to the wife. Can't be a bro. Couldn't be a bro. Got to be a son. Lucifer said, "Wine is good as long as it's the blood of Jesus Christ." Like, yes, I like this, guys. Keep this coming. I want to see a lot of this when we're talking about what does this mean. Y'all's brains are flowing on this. We're getting a lot of input from y'all. Wine is good as long as it's the blood of Jesus Christ. And Nath says Isaiah 63 mentions treading out wine in colored garments as judgment and wrath. All right. I know I didn't read from Ecclesiastes just because we're so close to it, but let's go into this, what he said really quick, and just look at it. Yeah, why is your apparel red and your garments like one who treads in the winepress? This is talking, the title of this is the Lord in Judgment and Salvation. Who is this who comes from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? He is one who is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness. Why is your apparel red and your garments like one who treads in the winepress? I have trodden the winepress alone, and from the peoples no one was with me. For I have trodden them in my anger and trampled them in my fury. Their blood is sprinkled upon my garments, and I have stained all my robe. For the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my redeemed has come. I looked, but there was no one to help, and I wondered that there was no one to uphold. Therefore, my own arm brought salvation for me, and my own fury, it sustained me. I have trodden down the peoples in my anger, and made them drunk in my fury, and brought down their strength to the earth. That's heavy. And I don't know how to digest that right now. That's God. It sounds like God just kind of like looking at his hands and just thinking, why did y'all drive me to this? That's just the appearance. And it's probably a horrible thing for me to believe. Um, but I don't know. I don't know. Isaiah's going to get deep, guys. That's a big one. Yexa also say St. Paul says that those who drink unworthily drink judgment upon themselves. The wine is a bad thing, i.e., judgment. Okay, so we're not talking about the blood of Christ in here. I think that was my initial impression that that's what we were thinking. But yes, because Thad mentioned dregs, and we do seem to keep the wine as judgment in this case because we're referring to the wicked. We're not talking about salvation. We're talking about righteous judgment. Makes the most sense. I agree. So for the believers, it is nourishment, and for the wicked, it is judgment. That's also how some Eastern fathers talk about God's light. It burns the wicked and makes the saints glow. Makes sense. Something wholesome, wholesomeness will grow from it. But wickedness will hide from it. What does he say, Lucy? What does he say? I'm referring to this Jay Dyer person. All right, I'm not going to get um into specifics. Thaddeus Patrick, who's a friend of this show, and an online friend of mine, um, is an Orthodox therapist, I think, um, who helps people in therapy using Orthodox teachings, Orthodox concepts. He is a convert from non-denominational Christianity, West Coast non-denominational Christianity, which is a little bit more closer to Pentecostal than you'll see on the East Coast. But like I said, very similar origins to where I am and where I came up from. However, he did have a crisis of identity at some point in his past that he had to overcome, which you don't see a whole lot of people do in society these days. But his story of overcoming it has helped him help others who experience similar things. And Jay, unfortunately, brings up mentions of it, refers to it, and has pictures, which again, and he does this seemingly randomly on Thaddeus's Twitter feed. They don't engage. He doesn't engage. It's not like that they're having an argument and he brings them up just to discredit. It just seems to be randomly he drifts by and drop carpet bombs these things and then leaves. So, I don't know. Oh, he's just a very vindictive, angry, wrathful person. He's popular partially for his apologetics and mostly because he mocks Protestants, Catholics, inquirers, and non-Christians with zero love/grace. There you go. He's harassed multiple people and doxed a few, sent his hordes of ortho bros to bully many times. So that's not, that's not good, right? The online ortho bro community is generally not healthy. And that was actually one of how Thaddeus and I kind of how he became a friend of the show was, I was in an argument with some Orthodox folks online. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, look, just so you know, actual Orthodoxy does not reflect what you see online. Um, it's just, it's much different." And I'd love to talk to you about it sometimes. Like, dude, I would love to have someone from the Orthodox come on the show and talk about it. And so he did. And again, it's very different look, and it's much more milder, more calm, composed, understanding than like I said, what you see online. It's a much more mature um, reflection. And I came away from talking with Thaddeus with a um, much more respect for Orthodoxy. I have a lot of respect for the Orthodox Church, and I think that they do it appears that they do a very good job gatekeeping their denomination as much as possible. They've got to deal with modernizers as much as the rest of us, but they don't, and they've got their infiltrate. They've got modernists infiltrating their their church, but they're standing as firm as anybody. So good. Nerthea said, we taught Isaiah to the elementary kids in my church for about 4 months. Good night. Yeah, I guess you really got to parse it down for them. Isaiah's heavy. It is. It's long. It's a big book. It's a big book in the Bible of prophecy, and often quoted. But man, some really heavy themes. I think it talks of the intoxication of wine. That said, got to say, I'm partial to anyone named Thaddeus. It's a good dude. Good dude. Good follow on Twitter. I was giving him a little bit of grief today because he's talking about mechanics and orthodoxy being like the proper understanding of how to work on the body, as in a mechanic knows how to properly work on a car. And I told him, I was like, this is just him trying to sell us an extended warranty. Renee said, I mean, the righteous do not need to fear God's wrath like the Israelites did, not need to fear the 10th plague. We can see and live through God's judgment, but will not be directed at us. Almost like a kid seeing their dad go Rambo on someone who tries to hurt them. They are shocked because they could never fathom that righteous rage being directed at them. Nice way of putting it, Nernath. I like that. Nico, what's going on, sir? You're late. That's all right. We've only gotten through the first one. We've still got a second one to do. Yex said, when I was a catechumen, I asked my priest who I should listen to online, and the first thing he said was not Jay Dyer. It's bad when the priests are going, anybody but him. Nernath, is a catechumen someone learning the catechism? Yeah, I think there's somebody being catechized. Though he can obviously yeah. And that is the generic definition of catechization, catechizing somebody, whatever. It doesn't necessarily have to revolve around a single book or series of books with the Apocrypha or whatever. It's just basically educating somebody and teaching doctrine. You could use the word indoctrination if you'd like. It's kind of a loaded word that maybe not. It's maybe not fair, but yeah. That you should ask Thaddeus to come on and talk about orthodoxy. I think I mentioned that yesterday as one of the guys I need to get back on here. I was going to bring him on. There was some goings on. There was some uh, hot goss going on with about the orthodoxy about a year ago, not long after he first was on the show. But yeah, it might be nice with the audience growing a little bit since he was last on, to bring him back on, have him talk. He's a good dude, like I said. And we had about a 2-hour conversation. If you ever want to go back and listen to that, there you go. Lowercase catechism is great. A lot of the uppercase C is good too. Renee said, I mean, some of my kids in class, even in upper elementary and middle school, are just too ignorant of things they should know. That's what we do. We don't do a proper job educating our kids and preparing them. Following culture instead of making the culture. Yeah, that is a big problem. All right. Let's as Alex Moore would say, let's get back to reading Psalms. No, before I get in that, Lucy said, never liked Orthodoxy or Catholic faith. No hate, just not my cup of tea. I like there's a lot about Orthodoxy I do like, and there's some that I do kind of pull back on. And I'm not getting into the details about it right now, but I do think there is a lot of beauty in Orthodoxy that other denominations would do well to pay attention and pull out of. But we're so, I don't know, we're so different. Protestants come out of Catholicism many centuries after the Orthodox split from the Catholics. And then we became different from Catholic. We ran away from so much of what Catholicism was because of all the things that I think the Catholics were doing wrong. There was a lot of corruption going on at that point. There was not a lot of um, accountability within there, and that kind of just that kind of there seemed to be a fair amount of hedonism going on, and that really just pushed us away and be like, we need to find a way to not be like that. And what did we do? We found new ways to new and different ways to corrupt some of our church beliefs, and again, it all comes down to either absolute power or being so obsessed with being relevant that we abandon the principles that are right in the effort to uh, put butts in the seat. People will come to your church if you were doing the right thing. People will come to the church. I there is a popular saying that I used to be very fond of, is that um, Christianity is only one generation away from dying out. And now, having reflected on that, I think that's very wrong. God's not going to let Christianity die out. It's not. It's never. Christianity is immortal. Christianity is going to be here. You could argue Christianity started with Adam at the beginning. It's gone through some different aesthetics, but now it is where we're at. There will always be Christians, and Christianity will always have some relevancy. And it doesn't matter whether there's 2 billion Christians or 2 Christians. God's will be done. There we go. That's my take on it. When you tell people, next time I hear somebody say it, I know that they're saying it because there's a fear of the lack of people interested in Christ. But guys, people are still joining the church. In fact, non-denominationals are actually growing. And I think the Orthodox Church is having some success and growth. I know that they're getting a lot of. I think the Orthodox is doing a good job picking up a lot of people who are disenchanted with their denominations: Anglicans, Episcopalians, etc. Flicks. All right. Whew. All right. We get into 76, the majesty of God in judgment. So we're talking about doing a lot of judgment tonight. That seems to be the theme. To the chief musician on stringed instruments, a psalm of Asaph, a song. In Judah, God is known. His name is great in Israel. In Salem also is his tabernacle, and his dwelling place in Zion. There he broke the arrows of the bow, the shield and sword of battle. Selah. You are more glorious and excellent than the mountains of prey. The stout hearted were plundered, and they have sunk into their sleep. And none of the mighty men have found and none of the mighty men have found the use of their hands. At your rebuke, I'm going to start that passage over. You are more glorious and excellent than the mountains of prey. The stout-hearted were plundered; they have sunk into their sleep. And none of the mighty men have found the use of their hands. At your rebuke, O God of Jacob, both the chariot and the horse were cast into a dead sleep. You yourself are to be feared. And who may stand in your presence when once you are angry? You would cause judgment to be heard from heaven. The earth feared and was still when God arose to judgment to deliver all the oppressed of the earth. Selah. Surely the wrath of man shall praise you. With the remainder of wrath you shall gird yourself. Make vows to the Lord your God and pay them. Let all who are around him bring presents to him who ought to be feared. He shall cut off the spirit of princes. He is awesome to the kings of the earth. We started with 12 disciples. Now look at us now. All right. In Judah, God is known. In Salem, in Judah, God is known. His name is great in Israel. In Salem also is his tabernacle and his dwelling places in Zion. Welcome home, God. This is your promised land to us. Tell the dispensationalists. They get too excited over about this. Just really establishing things. Look, God, this is where you wanted us to be. This is this place that you led us. You guided us to this place. So much has happened and so much will occur here. There he broke the arrows of the bow and the shield and sword of battle, Selah. Many times God has, you could argue all the times, the Israelites were victorious. God was the one kind of elbow dropping the competition with his massive posse of angels. You are more glorious and excellent than the mountains of prey. I'm sure there's some imagery there that I'm supposed to be getting with the mountains of prey. But it's probably complimenting on how great God is. He is more glorious than whatever mountains of prey is supposed to be glorious. Maybe they taste good. Maybe they're beautiful and majestic. I don't know. God is great. God is awesome. God is excellent, right? The stout-hearted were plundered. They have sunk into their sleep, and none of the mighty men have found the use of their hands. At your rebuke, O God of Jacob, both the chariot and the horse were cast into a dead sleep. God is tough. If you ain't Jacob, you don't want to pick a fight with this guy. We don't want to pick a fight with God. He is all powerful. So the folks who would fight against him, no matter whether they were stout-hearted, if they were courageous, if they were strong, or if they were well-equipped, stout-hearted, mighty men, chariot and horse. Boom. You yourself are to be feared. And who may stand in your presence when once you are angry? I don't want to be there. You caused judgment to be heard from heaven. The earth feared and was still when God arose to judgment to deliver all the oppressed of the earth. Selah. The phrase "daddy's home" really feels. Who wants to be caught up in the presence of God when he is upset? When he is irritated, when he is annoyed, when he is angry. Caused judgment to be heard from heaven. The earth feared and was still when God arose to judgment to deliver all the oppressed of the earth. Now, well, this is a great job to try to kind of contextualize things that had happened while at the same time appreciating exactly or trying to appreciate the level of greatness that God has. When God is angry, God is passing judgment, the entire planet is still. God has passed down judgment from heaven. He does it in the Old Testament. We've covered some of it. We'll cover more of it as we go through. God arose to judgment to deliver all the oppressed of the earth. Selah. Surely the wrath of man shall praise you. With the remainder of wrath you shall gird yourself. Kind of loses me a little bit on that one. Like, I get kind of where he's going. I just don't have much of a response to that. Make vows to the Lord your God and pay them. Let all you who are around him bring presents to him who ought to be feared. He shall cut off the spirit of princes. He is awesome to the kings of the earth. Awesome to the kings of the earth is more of respect and fear. And as some of the things we've read in Kings and Chronicles and maybe before that, there is fear for God among the heathens, the heathen kingdoms. Sometimes, not always, mostly to their to their misfortune, they're not respectful. But there are heathen kings who understand that the God of Israel is not one to be trifled with. So respect God. And if you make a vow to him, you better collect, or you better make it up to him. Because you don't want to come up short after all he's given and blessed you with. Yes. Oh, y'all want to talk about translations? Nernea said, I'm intrigued by wrath of man shall praise you. Thoughts? I remember the wrath of man worketh, not the righteousness of God. Probably heats of the smote. Look, and here's what I'm talking about. Good job, guys. Thank you. This is what I want. This is what I want, especially in Psalms, because it's so much poetry. It's so much imagery. I want you guys' brain power working with me to better understand what's going on. Don't leave this to me. I'm an idiot. I suck at poetry. I don't always understand it. So many times I get better understanding from listening to other people break it down for me. In the Septuagint, Greek Old Testament from around 300 BC, it says, for a man shall give thanks to you from his heart, and he shall celebrate a feast to you with his whole heart. Great. That's so much easier to understand, Yex, instead of what we see in verse 10. I like that. I prefer it to most Hebrew Old Testaments because they are based on anti-Christian texts from around that 1000 AD, whereas the apostles quoted this Greek Septuagint. And going on that Greek rendition, it could be inferred that David is talking about the Eucharist, literally Thanksgiving in Greek, which is a feast with God. Y'all can't see my hand. I'm doing this. Feast with God, awesome. The majority of the psalm is the same in both versions, though. What about the Dead Sea Scrolls, older stuff? Yes, are there other resources to look at? Isn't King James version based on Septuagint, or is this just a singular miss? Yeah, I don't know. Yex is drawing a blank. He's talking about Dead Sea Scrolls are even earlier. There are only fragments left. This is one of the things that I think would help mend. There are significant philosophical or theological issues between Protestants and Catholics, and to some extent the Orthodoxy, that some folks can't get past. Has a lot to do with veneration and icons, and the Eucharist. But I think that a lot of mistrust of Rome specifically, this has nothing to do with orthodoxy. I think a lot of mistrust that with Rome might be alleviated if they would start sharing some of the texts and sources that they have hoarded away in their own archives that they let nobody except for it seems recently weirdo atheists inspect and review. Open the archives to some degree. Catalog what they say. Invite product, and I get that. And this is not me making a demand. This is me offering a a possible solution. If you want to better reconcile with Protestants, um, open that up. Invite Protestants in to read this stuff. Maybe, the stuff the sources and all that stuff that you have should do a good job at bringing more people to your cause, right? I don't know. It would be nice to see um, if there's anything in there that might help clarify some translations or clarify translations. Maybe strengthen a debate in one that a long serving debate on either side. Who knows? Who knows what could happen? But the priesthood up in Rome does not have a great track record of sharing information with people. Some of it, well, a lot of it to their detriment. Alas. That's so complicated because a lot of the stuff you will fall apart if you breathe on it. Yeah, but they've got curators who can go, then what's the point of having it? Just to say, oh, here's this book. We can't do anything with it. If we touch it, it'll turn to dust. Okay, then just let it turn to dust and then bag it or put it in an urn or something, a reliquary. But if you've got curators, it's not going to get any easier to review that stuff. That stuff, if it hasn't already been cataloged, a lot of this stuff is locked away because for some reason they want to cloister that knowledge. That would make me lean more towards trusting orthodox interpretations of history because they seem to be more open on that kind of thing. I don't know. I could be wrong about that, but that's pronounced Didac, isn't it? The Didac, or is it Didache? I like Didac better. Whatever. The earliest Christian handbook was written around the time of Revelation. It was almost listed in the New Testament canon. It was lost for so long until an Orthodox bishop found it last century. That would be Didache? Oh, I like Didac. Didache seems that's a good looking word. Doesn't sound as good. Thanks, Yex. That would be a good thing that, when we are going to get finished reading the Bible and we're going to go into the Apocrypha and stuff like that. That would be a very cool thing to get into, in my opinion. In my opinion. That's just what I'm thinking. So the Bible, they don't want to tell you, they don't want you to know this, but the Bible is free. I can read it all the time. All right. All right, guys, I got to get ready. to go on to the next stream. I liked Halo 5. I liked Halo 4. I did not like the last one. Swiss Guard, no. Shut it down. All right, that's what we're going to do. All right, sports fans, God fans, viewers, just so you know, tonight's last stream of the week. I am not going to be streaming on Monday. That means Tuesday at 8:30, not at 8:35, but at 8:30. We're going to open up the week with Keith Foskey, Pastor Keith Foskey, with Conversations with the Calvinist, talking about Calvinism. Love you guys to just show up, just to the experience. You don't have to buy into it. I'm probably not going to. I've listened to Calvinists talk, and most of them are lay people like myself. I've never had somebody really come in and do a good job explaining and answering the questions or the objections I have to it. But I will say some of the most God-loving, God-fearing people and smart, educated, and just thirst for knowledge folks in Christianity are Calvinists. Same thing. They're just in there, right? And so I don't have to agree with them. I don't doubt their faith. I mean, because they can't help it. It was their destiny. It's their destiny to love God. But definitely show up and give his channel a look-see. Give his Twitter page a follow. He is a growing presence on both, and he's just funny. All right. With that said, Nernaeth, Alias, Emmanuel Osorio, Yex, Thad, lots of comments tonight. It's really active chat. I love that. It's the second night we've had a really, really active chat. Nico, Lucy Evening Star, Texan Italian, John Smoth, go get them kids, Alex Moore, Blaine's Escape Corner, Dresden. I think that's it. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Like I said, it's been an active chat. I was scrolling through there. Thank you guys for your comments. Thank you guys for improving the chat. You improved the show. You're a vital and valued, and I take time every night to call your name out and thank you because it is important. And I enjoy the interaction. I get so much out of you guys. That's part of the I don't just this is part of something I get. It's not just me putting this out there for other people. I get a lot of value out of this. I appreciate it. You guys are great. Keep it up. Keep coming in. Keep talking to me. Don't leave me here alone. To everybody who is in the chat or who is not in the chat, can't be in the chat, or don't want to be in the chat, they just want to listen. That's fine. I encourage you to be in the chat because I'd love to hear from you, but I'm just glad that you're finding something that you can tune into and listen to and come back and want more. To everybody who is catching this on replay, sorry I missed you. Hope to catch you live sometime. Everybody have a good night. Have a good, safe weekend. Productive, restful, enjoyable, safe. Good night, and God bless.